Shifting back to coronavirus cases in Massachusetts, they continue to decline. So what does it mean for our kids? We're joined by Dr. Kristen Moffitt in the Division of Infectious Diseases at Boston Children's Hospital. Good to see you. We're seeing fewer cases of coronavirus statewide. We know that children have always been a really small percentage of that anyway. So I know we've talked about this before, but at this point, is it safe to plan play dates for our kids outside or even schedule visits with extended family?
So I think it is still holding true that kids represent a relatively small percentage of the cases of infections, and that they still, by and large, are very mild infections and in many cases even asymptomatic infections. So I would say nothing is zero risk, but it is reasonably safe to start to plan either play dates or visits with extended family, but still keeping a couple of very important features in mind to make this as safe as possible. And that would have to do with still keeping the numbers small. It would have to do with doing the risk assessment on both sides of who you'd be interacting with in terms of what exposures have been in the 2 weeks leading up to the planned visit. And then taking measures when you're together to still minimize the risk of transmission during the time that you spend together. So still maintaining social distance to whatever extent is possible, really almost to the point of excessive hand hygiene to, again, reduce the risk of infecting yourself. And outside events generally are going to be safer than indoor time spent together. So keeping some of those practices in mind, I think that get-togethers with a small group of people in places where transmission has continued to be decreasing can be done relatively safely.
Okay, good to know. All right, so the weather is warming up. Families may be looking for ways to cool off here. Is swimming in a freshwater lake more risky than, say, a chlorinated pool or maybe a saltwater beach? What should you consider?
So the risk associated with swimming in any of those settings is not really associated with the body of water. The risk of transmission via water sources is not been documented. So the risk in any of those settings still pertains to physical closeness to other people when you are outside of the water, or if you're in the water and physically close to other people, the risk of transmission still exists the same way it does when you're on land. So the considerations to take in mind for any sort of a swimming setting would really have to do with how crowded is that beach going to be or that pool deck going to be? What is the availability of nearby restrooms, nearby other accommodations that may have the potential for becoming more crowded? And if any of those things are a concern, then really trying to plan around those and plan ways in which you avoid any opportunity or setting in which you're not going to be able to safely maintain safe distance from other groups would be important. And it's more important than the body of water itself.
Okay, good insight, good to know. Dr. Kristen Moffitt, thank you as always. Good to see you.
Good to see you.